Hello Gemini friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Gemini September 2024 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. I'm calling the theme of this month for Gemini Explosion of Expansion, and that is not just limited to this month. I'm going to go in order of the transits that are more short term that will definitely be in your face at this time, and then we'll build towards some longer term transits that are very active this month but will be going on for a while. So a lot of the things we talk about are going to be with you for a while to come, so they have a greater magnitude, and a lot of them have to do with this explosion of expansion. So we'll get into all of that. This is for you if Gemini is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Gemini placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you're a very late degree Gemini friend, so birthdays like June 15th through the rest of the sign, or Gemini degrees 23 degrees through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Cancer report, as your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. So in the YouTube version here, I'm going to work on the chart. For podcast listeners, I'm putting the chart as the thumbnail so you can have a peek if you know what you're looking at. And we'll just go in order here of these shorter term transits. September time is Virgo time. And we see this massive congregation. Mercury's about to get there, Vesta, the Sun, Astrea. Add to that on September 2nd, we have the 11-degree new moon in Virgo. And that's a lot of energy. Bringing discipline, bringing back to work, back to school, from that Leo frenzy we had, which was especially wild for air and fire signs, right? Because it's just fueling, for Geminis, fueling your air, fueling at all how you are. So we're kind of stepping out of that wild fire frenzy into the basics, into the necessities, into the daily grind again. But hopefully with the inspiration and the relief and the relaxation into this new schedule where you can create more efficiency, better systems, and more joy in your daily experience. This is a great time to schedule health appointments, diagnostics, or start with new wellness or fitness goals and commitments. The days around September 12th through October 7th, I'm going to be going back to these days over and over to tell you how important they are. These are especially good times to do something new, to do something important, to do something big, because it's the last time that we have freedom from the personal planet retrogrades until very deep into 2025. All right, so I guess we'll do a tidbit on that now. Okay, so when the planets are going direct, personal planets are going direct as they are September 12th through October 7th, you are on the beach, the tide is going out, the beach is bigger because the tide is going out. So you have more room, it just feels more open, more expanded. Anything you put on there, on the tide, is going to go out. So if you put a boat out to float, if you put a message in a bottle, are the ones I like to use examples of, the tides will take them out pretty easily. And so this is representative. Take this energetic understanding and apply it to anything you want to go out as far and wide with ease as possible, for as long as possible, okay? And do those things during September 12th through October 7th. Engagements, weddings, big moves, big sales, big purchases, new jobs, especially ones if you have to move or do something big for them. Anything like a big contract, a commitment, an investment, like a launch of a work-related thing, a job, milestone of some sort, which that we're going to come back to that topic extensively. Publishing, getting your work out into the world, being seen, doing something new that you want to travel far and wide. Those dates are going to be great. Now, once October 7th comes and goes, Mars is going to start its descent into its pre-shadow retrograde, and then it's going to be doing that for a long time. Then we'll eventually have more Mercury retrograde. We'll have Venus retrograde in that time, into next year that it all is. But during the time that Mars is retrograde, we're going to have a lot of other retrograde stuff, and we're not going to have any popping up out of it for a long time to come, which is fine. Retrograde energy is not bad. It just is when the tides are going in. So things get brought to you or brought back to you. Maybe a dolphin comes to visit. Maybe, trash comes up and you have to deal with that. But whatever it is, the beach gets smaller, right? The water's encroaching, things get a little tighter, things get a little, maybe pressured sometimes inward and backward. But in some ways, there's also a great relaxation that can happen if you don't fight the tides, because it is an inward and backward time. And if you just know it's not time to send your message out in a bottle, you don't have to spend time figuring out what you're going to write. So, as the months progress, I'll talk about more things you can do that are good to do during retrogrades. And there are a lot of them. And you can also see my book, Planetology, How to Align with Natural Rhythms of the Universe, for a lot of info on the retrogrades. But what we need to know now is that this is not that time, and we want to take very good advantage of that. Okay, so now back to our Virgo discussion. The discipline, the focus is going to be strong. If you have to do tedious projects, this is going to be your best time for the rest of the year to do them until that cap energy starts at the very end of the year. Then you'll have it again. But, if you're a Gemini driven to distraction like most are, and distraction is a human thing, but air signs tend to get a little bit more of it, right? Butterflies of the zodiac, then you might really want to use this Virgo energy to get tedious things done, or things that you've been avoiding done, even get a leg up on your taxes or things like that. Now, specifically for Gemini, all this Virgo energy accentuates the home and family. So you'll be seeing home, family, real estate coming not only in the short term, but the long term, because Mars is going to go through Cancer for a long time. So these Cancer themes are not going anywhere anytime soon, but you just have a massive conglomeration of that energy at this time. Real estate, houses, housing, doing stuff for your house. And by the way, if you're doing home improvement things and you need people to help you with that, like you're hiring people, September 12th through October 7th is going to be a magical window where hopefully you can get a ton done, because not only will you be affected by the Mars retrograde energies, where it might make you lose some of your ambitions. I mean, some people get super obsessed and hot on something and super productive, but it's usually a monofocus in Mars retrograde, like you're doing this one thing to the exclusion of everything else. But what generally happens is that people get lazy for most, if not all, things in their lives. And that includes the people who you're hiring to work for you to do the project for your house, for your real estate project. So it's going to be a little bit harder to get people to work. So try to get as much done as possible. All right. So the next thing that we need to know is that as those planets progress from Virgo into Libra, they will join this already big Libra party. So Mercury, the Sun, will get through Virgo and join Venus, Lilith, Juno, and transiting South Node in the big Libra party. And then, of course, October 2nd, we'll have a solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Libra. So that's big entrance into the Libra party. So that party is not going away anytime soon either. And even though that eclipse is in October, we will see things coming in from that eclipse in September for sure. And you may have already been seeing them come in July and August. So partnerships, relationships, friendships, business connections are all front and center. Getting help for things, or you helping others, all front and center. Also, big news about all this Libra energy is it's in a trine for Gemini, right? Best possible aspect in astrology, the 120-degree sacred geometrical, beautiful, coherent angle. So all of these small transits and then the big aspect are all going to be making a super great kiss for Gemini placements. We'll talk more about that eclipse in October, but just know now that you have a lot of Aries support, and all of that is feeding into your relationships for improvement and solutions, and is highlighting your house of Leo, which is where you shine. It's where your sacred flame glows brightest. The things that just make your energy field lift up like a sunflower to the sun with joy, stretching ever up strong and happy. So these are bucket list things. This is your creativity sector. This is children, conception to child rearing. This is, leadership. This is you in front of people recognizing your work, which is a theme that will be happening a lot this month. So all of that is happening. Okay, so I said we would progress in order of the things that last the longest, or the shortest to the longest. So now let's get into this Mars aspect. You had it in Gemini for a couple of months. It's about to move into Cancer and will be here, not for the usual couple of months that it is, but because Mars is going to be retrograde mostly in Cancer, it's going to be there for a long time, which guess what that means for you? Explosion of expansion in your finances, because this is your money house, your earned income, your financial consciousness. And even though Mars is going to be going backwards. It's if your money sector is not exploding in the time of the retrograde, it's helping you to do the work that will set you on a pace of massive explosion as you have a good explosion. Of course, things could always happen that are not favorable, because sometimes those things have to happen to bring our awareness to things we have to tweak in our energy field, or things that have been undercover a problem. If you have not been living sustainably financially, if you have not been, if you've been living beyond your means, if you need to make more money, like if all those things are pressure cooker situations, they could erupt, and that could be an explosion that does not feel good. But what that could bring to light is, wow, you have to take action on this, and it can show you exactly what you need to do. I've definitely created a lot of resources on this topic myself. You can find a lot of resources for your financial consciousness. I always like to listen to frequencies, high vibe frequencies that have to do with abundance. You can look for these on YouTube. Also, I have a free course called Unleash Your Money Magnets, which you can find at LUMELIFE, loomlife.com. And then just search through all courses and then find the free Unleash Your Money Magnet. And I'll introduce you to concepts that can help you to up your financial IQ. Margaret Lynch's channel on YouTube about breaking through, using EFT to break through financial consciousness issues. She has a book called Tapping into Wealth that's fantastic for it. And in general, any inner work. We're programmed by what society and what our caretakers believed. If you watched your parents work their knuckles to the bone, like I did, you will pick up those belief systems that you have to do that in order for things to be okay. If whatever your different financial story is from that, then maybe you manifested a situation where you don't have to work, but you may not have a lot of say in how you spend money, and you want more say. Whatever your particular financial story is, this Mars cycle here now in September, especially while it's going direct, right? Because that forward moving energy, you might see some advancements in this. And then as it starts to dial back, you'll start to notice the places where you can improve, which is really exciting, because many people are willing to do the work for the improvement. You just have to know what it is to do, and this time can reveal that for you. Okay, so Jupiter is still moving through your sign. This is a very big deal. We had this happen 1 year out of 12 years, and May 2024 to June 2025 is your year. So expansion of your connection with your physical body, of your reputation, of how people know you in the world, of how you put yourself out there, of how your self-esteem is and your image is. For some people, Jupiter moving through the first house actually makes them gain weight. So if you've been gaining weight, there may be Jupiter expanding issues that you have that have to be worked out. Sometimes the planets make a ruckus to show you that there's something unconscious that has to be dealt with, emotional eating or something like that. But it could be also working out that you're gaining massive muscle, and if you're someone in a position of trying to gain weight, because there are actually many, many people who have trouble keeping weight on or keeping muscle tone, and this transit can actually help you with that physically as well. So this is ongoing, but we'll mention it now still because it's part of your picture here. So the big showstopper, let's look at the eclipse. Okay, so on September 17th, we've got a lunar eclipse at 25 degrees. That's the full moon lunar. 25 degrees of Pisces. So fullness, completion, fruition, drama coming to Pisces, intuition. That's the 12th house for everybody. That's addictions, fears, your subconscious space. So there could be some sort of major spiritual breakthrough that occurs. But specifically for Gemini, this accentuates your 10th house. And some of the kind of things that you can see, not only now, see, this is a new cycle. The Pisces-Virgo eclipse cycle is being added to concurrently occurring, while this Aries-Libra eclipse cycle that's been in process since early 2023 and is going into 2025, which has been at a fabulous angle for Gemini. We have that influence still happening now. Again, we'll talk about that more next month. But we have a new eclipse cycle that's going to run at the same time for a couple of months, and then it will keep going. Not a couple of months. For 2 more cycles, we will have both the Aries Libra and the Pisces Virgo. And the cycles happen every 6 months. Then after that, this Pisces Virgo will continue into 2027. So very big themes coming up. New themes of chaos versus order, of intuition versus logic, of your inner world versus your outer world. And specifically, for Geminis, this is accentuating your home and family and real estate sector, which is also really lit up in the short term with the fast-moving Virgo placements, but there's also a long-term theme where home and housing and family is really going to have major changes and an explosion of expansion. And then the workspace, which is where this eclipse is. See, we have to talk about the polarity. Even though the eclipse isn't in the 4th house this time, it opposes that house and it activates this polarity. So this eclipse in the 10th house activates the polarity between the 10th and 4th houses. So the kind of things that you may see with an eclipse in the 10th house, as Gemini has, is professional milestones. So a lunar eclipse in the 10th house will often signal a major shift in your career. It could be a time of significant achievements, promotions, or recognition. And that, coupled with this Jupiter transit, which also can tend to bring the same thing, is multiple layers of this. You may have new opportunities for new jobs or career paths that could align more closely with your passions and your skills. You could have an enhanced reputation, your public image, gaining respect and admiration, visibility and influence. These are all kind of key words that can occur. Goal realization, goal setting, and goal realization. If you're setting goals now and they're really big ones, you may have really shorten the timelines of them during this couple of years. And that's exactly what eclipses do. They clear karma. So if you have any beliefs or belief systems or karma in the areas of family or your place in your inner world, or work or your place in your outer world, you'll have a chance to come face to face with those beliefs and to clear them. And sometimes these things can clear in an instant, like instant karma clearing. This also can have to do with strategic planning. So, you'll be in a process of reassessing and refining your long-term goals. This can have to do with taking on a leadership role, taking on a mentorship role, place where you're sharing your guidance and, guiding others in your knowledge. This can be all about integration of intuition into your workspace. Sometimes we think of the workspace as a place of logic, right? 10th house is an earth sign, very practical. But with the Pisces energy here, you have to have intuition there. And this is especially important for Gemini because the 10th house is ruled by Pisces for Gemini. So it's kind of a life lesson for you to bring intuition into the workplace or into your life goals. And for some of you, that can be actually doing work in those realms, spiritual realms, psychological developments, hypnosis, channeling, something that's like a job in those arenas. But for many of you, it will be you bringing your spiritual development into your workspace or into the workspace of others. So eclipse time is definitely a time to embrace change because it's very likely coming. It's a time where you can set goals, but also know that the trajectory may shift and things that are unexpected may happen. This is a time to release the things that are not working and to align with your highest expression in this lifetime. So that is always very exciting. This is a time for this whole cycle where you're learning to balance work and personal life. And this is going to be one of the storylines. If you don't have that balance already, this cycle will help you to develop that. If you do have it, it could be tested. So, those are big stories that are happening. There are definitely many more layers to understand here about eclipses. When you go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, and that link is in the notes underneath the podcast or the video, and put your name and email address in, when you get the welcome letter, there's, under the bonus section, there's a link to my eclipse resource page where you can learn more about 10th house eclipses. You can learn more about Pisces eclipses. You can learn more about Libra eclipses. You can learn more about Leo 5th house eclipses, because those all are the 4 things that are active for September and October. And so I have separate videos and then also showing you which ones to watch for your placements. So we have many layers of this explosion of expansion going on for Geminis, and I hope that it's magical for you and that any challenges that come can have the support of the other influences to help buoy you up through them. Okay, so remember to subscribe, like, click the bell, and enable notifications to make sure that my reports get delivered right to where you can get them as soon as possible. If you want them even earlier, go to AnnieHelpsYou.com. Another perk you get when you join my free VIP community is you get access to my horoscope, my public horoscopes early. Okay, so just put your name an email address in here. Click receive. Look for my welcome letter in the inbox. Once you get it, you'll get the Eclipse resource page link. You'll get the health tips link. You'll get my 28-day virtual coaching program. You can search for the September 2024 in the archive link to get the sweet and salty aspect dates. You can get my Train Your Brain audio, all of these goodies. And you will get mini astrology lessons as well. Now, if you want a more organized, structured learning of astrology, I am your girl. I've been an astrology teacher for decades. I've brought people, many people, to being able to earn money from their love of astrology. So if you scroll down and you click on Up Level, then you can see my courses, my Astrology Basics and Beyond course, or my Become a Professional Astrologer Mastery Certification course. And if you're listening to this anytime through the end of August, you will get $1,100 worth of free courses when you enroll in this course now. So you can see that there, or you can go to beastropro.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.